Hello and welcome to the Animus Dog Training channel. Today we're talking about resource guarding in dogs. Whether it's toys, people, spots on the sofa, or more commonly food, resource guarding can be a scary behaviour if it's not something that you've dealt with before. Today we're going to discuss how to prevent resource guarding from happening in the first place, and steps you can take to manage resource guarding if it's already happening with your dog. And hopefully we'll be able to give you a better insight into why your dog is displaying these aggressive behaviours towards you. Today we'll be primarily focusing on resource guarding around food, as it's the most commonly seen form of resource guarding, but keep an eye out on the channel because we'll have plenty more videos discussing resource guarding when it comes to toys, preferred people, spots on the sofa, and a variety of other things that dogs may choose to guard. The first thing we need to keep in mind is that resource guarding is a completely natural behaviour. Imagine you're out to dinner at a nice restaurant and I start hovering around the table or even attempt to take your food. You're definitely going to have a word with me if you don't straight up hit me for stealing food from your plate. Dogs feel the same way and communicate their feelings towards us. Remember that growling, snarling, vocalization and other forms of body language is our dog's language. It's how they communicate to us. And it's a good thing that they're communicating with us and not just going straight for a bite. In the wild and in pack dynamics, it's completely natural for dogs to communicate who has access to the highest value resources, who has to wait their turn, and who only has access to the least valuable resources. Although these behaviours are completely natural and sometimes almost expected if you've adopted a dog, particularly a street dog, it's something that we're going to want to nip in the bud straight away, as these problems can become much worse and could eventually lead to the dog biting. Resource guarding is probably the number one reason people get bit by dogs, especially people that cannot read dog body language or children left alone with a dog. Even a dog that is child social and friendly with children will feel that they're entitled to protect certain resources from children and feel entitled to communicate this to the child. And although they will usually go up the bite scale, going whale-eyed, licking their lips, showing their teeth, snarling, growling, and then biting, if a child or an adult who cannot read these signs ignores the first couple of steps, then the dog will feel that they're justified and that it's necessary to move up these steps in the bite scale. The reason we have to keep on top of resource guarding and nip it in the bud straight away is that dogs learn behaviour very quickly. If we ignore a dog's subtle attempts at telling us that they're uncomfortable, and the dog learns that snarling isn't an effective method of communicating with us, that we want to be left alone, and then they escalate to a bite, and the bite makes us go away, what the dog learns is that biting is an effective method of communication, but snarling and licking their lips or showing their teeth is not. This is why, as important it is to nip resource guarding in the bud straight away, it's also vital that we listen to our dogs and make sure that we have effective communication back and forth with each other. Listening to our dogs and developing a strong relationship with them will go a long way in minimizing problematic behaviors like resource guarding. If our dogs know that they can look to us when they're anxious and we will guide them, tell them what they need to do and what they cannot do during stressful situations, then our dog will not feel the need to challenge us over things like food, spaces on the sofa, or any other resources that they see as something that they want to protect. Restructuring the relationship you have with your dog or setting it up properly in the first place is going to go a long way to mitigating problems like resource guarding with your dog. On this channel we're going to have a variety of videos showing you how you can strengthen the relationship with your dog, restructure it if that's necessary, and set your dog up for success so that they are happy in the home and you don't struggle with any problematic behaviours. So if that sounds like something that might interest you, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. You'll hear me time and time again talk about how the foundational skills that we instill in our dogs are so important whenever it comes to behavioural modification. It's something I'll sing from the rooftops. If you do not have a strong bond with your dog, if you do not not have a healthy relationship and a good set of life skills at a foundational level, you'll never be able to work through some of the more difficult behavioural modifications that you might need to with your dog. The first step in changing resource guarding problems is to minimise the chance that your dog has to claim items that they should not have and prevent them from guarding in the first place. You do this by puppy proofing your home. Food should not be left down for long periods of time. If they like to raid bins, bins should be in another room or in the cupboard out of the way. If they're resource guarding toys, then free access to toys should be taken away, and toys should only be given to them whenever you decide that it's an appropriate time to play. If they resource guard the bed, a particular room in the house, or a spot on the sofa, remove their free access to these areas, and they're only allowed there whenever they're invited up, helping mitigate these resource guarding problems. This does not need to be forever, but restructuring your dog's access to resources that they could potentially guard will go a long way to minimizing the resource guarding problems that they have. We want our dog to learn that if they want access to the things that they want, like food, toys, and spots on the sofa, they will only access these things when they're being a well-behaved, well-mannered dog. Their good behaviour will allow them access to the things that they want. One of the easiest drills we can do with this is around meal times. When you're giving your dog its dinner, you should ask it to sit and stay. Put the food bowl on the ground, and the dog should only be allowed access to the bowl whenever you break their stay. We'll have more videos teaching you how to teach an effective stay and the importance of a break command. But quickly, if you're struggling with this, one of the things you can do is as you start to put the food bowl down, if the dog breaks their sit, the food bowl simply comes back up. The dog has to go back into the sit position before you start to put the food bowl down. The dog will quickly learn that if they want access to the food, they need to remain seated, and this is a quick and effective way to teach your dog to stay while you're giving them food. This is a form of negative reinforcement or negative punishment. We're increasing the frequency of them keeping their stay by removing the bowl, negative reinforcement. We're also decreasing the behaviour of them breaking their stay, negative punishment. Negative in this context simply means to take something away. At no point during resource guarding training should we be scalding the dog, should we hit the dog or reprimand them in any way, because this can actually increase the anxiety and make the behavior worse. It damages the relationship between you and your dog's not going to know that they can look to you for guidance and will feel the need to challenge you over resources and valuables. We should then build the level of time that the dog is in their sit and stay before they get access to the bowl, letting them realise that good things come with good behaviour. We can also feed the dog incrementally into the bowl using the same protocol. Have an empty food bowl on the ground and a bowl of dog food in your hand. This will allow you to incrementally put the dog in a sit and stay, add a small amount to the bowl, allow them to break their stay, and then you can repeat this drill again and again until their dinner allowance is finished. Again, remember to build up the length of time that they have to stay, and this may be done over the course of a couple of days rather than in one training session. You can also use this time to ask your dog for eye contact if focus is something that you've previously taught your dog. If focus work isn't something you've worked on with your dog, do not worry. Again, we're going to have a lot of videos explaining these concepts on our channel, so don't get too hung up on this step if focus isn't something you've worked on yet. But the general idea is that they only get access to their food when they're sitting, staying, and paying attention to the handler. That'll help them understand that good things come whenever they look to us for guidance and direction. If the resource guarding is very severe, what you may need to do is have a second person here to have the dog on the lead while you're doing this food bowl exercise, just as an added safety precaution. This is just an introduction to resource guarding, and resource guarding is something we could spend hours talking about and still not scratch the surface of the techniques we can use to modify this behaviour and also the reasons that it occurs with our dogs. But this behaviour is a telltale sign that your dog is unbalanced. Your relationship that you have with your dog is not right, and they have some anxieties that they need to work through and they need you to support them through. The intention of this channel is to give you guys as much information as possible to help you strengthen the relationship that you have with your dog and to set you both up for success in the future. If this is something that you would find useful, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss a future episode. If you found value from this video, please do consider hitting it a like. It really helps us reach other people that might be struggling with the same issues. If you have any questions or want to share your experience with resource guarding, put a comment down below and let's start a dialogue with each other. Keep in mind at some point you may need to get professional help and have someone come in to help mitigate these problems for you. Resource guarding isn't something that should be taken lightly, and a dog that is snarled and growled will quickly go to a bite if things aren't kept on top of. But watch this video and the other ones on our channels first to see if you can't get on top of the problem yourself. Watch our other videos on these topics, and together we can stop dogs from coming into shelters and ultimately keep dogs off the euthanasia table. That's all for today, and thank you again for watching the video. If you took value from it, make sure that you're following our content, because we want to produce as much as possible to help you guys out. We are going to have another video explaining different areas of resource guarding, like toys, areas in the room, bonded handlers and things like that. If there's any particular questions you guys have or you feel you would like to see addressed in the video, please leave a comment down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.